So we're gonna focus on some category called problem solving and data analysis. Right. So what we see here are a lot of tables. We see a lot of words. Right. So in a lot of cases, doing this correctly almost comes down to reading this and understanding what it's asking for. Right. So I'm gonna put my mug up here for now. Let's read through this one together. It says, in a study of cell phone use, 799 randomly selected U.S. teens were asked how often they talked on a cell phone and about their texting behavior. So we see that this table is has two columns, right, and three rows. The 799 is always down here in the bottom right hand corner. That's the total, right? So we get the three totals from light, medium, and heavy texting behavior. This has to add up to 799. And then we have their talking figures here, which have to add up to 799 as well, right? Based on the data from the study, an estimate of the percent of U.S. teens who are heavy texters is 30%, and the associated margin of error is 3%. Which of the following is a correct statement based on the given margin of error? Now, you look at this table, and then they tell you that 30% heavy texters. So we can look and figure out that. But that's not what this question is asking us for, right? Really, what it's asking us for is an interpretation of margin of error. Okay, and so margin of error, like just like anything in statistics, it's based off of a sampling, and it's more or less a way of saying, it could be this or it could be that. We're not quite sure, right? So that's margin of error. Is it exactly 30% the number of heavy texters? Well, according to this, right, if we did the math, it would be very close to that, right? But that's what statistics is all about, like sampling and then taking that data and trying to make conclusions off of it. So when you read through the options here, option A says approximately 3% of the teens in the study who are classified as heavy texters are not really heavy texters. Okay. So we see the way that this is phrased, the way that are not really heavy texters. Uh, we're going to come back to this one in a second. Okay. But again, the generality, the general language that's used here is not something that we typically see. It says, for option B, it is not possible that the percent of all U.S. teens who are heavy texters is less than 27%. So they get this number 27% because margin of error is a number that we add and subtract on either end of this number, right? So they're saying we think it's 30%, but it could be anywhere from 27% to 33%. Okay. The problem with what they said here in Part B is it is not possible. With statistics, we don't deal with absolutes when we make these margin of errors and when we get these statistics. So to definitively say it is not possible is not statistically sound. Okay. Here's another example of this. The percent of all U.S. teens who are heavy texters is 33%. I'm going to focus on this word is. That's saying is, meaning it is definitively 33%. That's not how margin of error works, right? So based on the margin of error, we're not saying that it is 33%. We're saying most likely it's between 27 and 33. So because of that absolute word is, we're definitely not going to include this either. Okay. Part D says it is doubtful that the percent of all U.S. teens who are heavy texters is 35%. Well, we said with the 3% margin of error, it's most likely between 27 and 33%. What's a different way of saying that? It is doubtful that the percent of all U.S. teens who are heavy texters is 35%. That falls outside of that window, right? So, yeah, it is doubtful. It's not impossible, but it is doubtful that it's 35% because that falls outside of that range of percentages that we got. So we're going to say this is the best answer. Let's come back here to A to talk about why this is wrong. Approximately 3% of teens in the study who are classified as heavy texters are not really heavy texters. That's not what margin of error is about. Margin of error is focusing on that one category, which is heavy texters. So this isn't about the quality of that category, right? Well, maybe they're heavy texters, maybe they're not. No, we are focusing on that category, and we're saying that the number of students or the percentage of students in that category could wave between 27 and 33%. Right? We're not judging the quality of the category. We say, well, they're not really heavy texters. Not what we're saying. Okay. So again, incorrect. So when you talk about margin of error, we're talking about a range of values on either side of the number where we expect that data to fall.